We're live on Facebook.
Is that what it says?
Yeah. I get my notifications.
Cool. All right. So we are now live, Phil, and we're in our private Facebook group here. So why don't you introduce yourself and we'll go from there. I know we have some questions below from some of our students here. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Phil Migliarese. I'm a black belt from Relson Gracie, owner of Balance Studios, yoga guy, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Of course. So how long have you been practicing jiu-jitsu for?
30-something years, since I was like 11.
That's it, dude? Only 30 years?
Like 1988 it is. I know, because I can see our shirts over here. So yeah, 88.
And how did you get into jiu-jitsu?
I grew up in a combative family. So grandfather, great-grandfather, dad, boxing, street fighting. And I learned jiu-jitsu. I saw that it was something after getting the Gracie in action tapes. And if you guys out there don't know what that is, I just actually found them. They're on YouTube. If you go Gracie in action 1, and then the second, they were tapes. So like VHS tapes. And maybe we'll find them. We'll put the link in here. But I got those in the mail early on, and my cousin ordered them. And then once we got them, all we did, we plugged them in, and we we would pause and then take one move, like just going under somebody, grabbing them and throwing them that were, someone that may have been like a striker. So I started there, and then about a year or two, Steve Maxwell, my mom and my brother and I used to babysit Zach Maxwell, who's like world champion now, black belt. And Steve came over to pick him up, and he said, "Hey, we got this group getting together for this thing called Gracie Jiu Jitsu." I was like, "Whoa, same stuff, but how does Steve know it?" So I was curious. So I went in there, and Steve's, as you know, you've worked with Steve. Steve is a physical fitness phenom, like genius. And so what we lacked in information in jiu-jitsu, he made up with physical fitness. Man, we used to it's like an hour, 2-hour warm up, one move, and then wrestling without even knowing what you were doing. So that's how it started, man. That was my first real class, like with other people. Before, I had only been doing it with my cousin. So, and I was a child,
So the Gracie in action videos are like you said, they're on YouTube now.
Yeah, they're old, so the content is, it's good for Gracie Jiu Jitsu to be seen out there. So I don't think but it was a tape, it was a VHS tape.
Some of our members might not know what a VHS tape is.
That's a big giant tape that holds about an hour or hour and a half of information. So, so like I said, if you plug in Gracie in action 1, Gracie in action 2, you should be able to see the videos. So you'll see why too. Back in the day, I got excited because it was like, for some of us, the presentation of like UFC 1 was their entry point into martial arts, but that was my entry point, into just like, I don't know, something more realistic. I always like boxing, I was like street fighting and no holds barred sort of stuff, but there was no real good education for anyone of any size, and that was it. Elliot Gracie wasn't big, but he, beat the crap out of people. He did. He was a tough son of a gun.
So when you were at the studio with Steve, that became like your first official class of Gracie Jiu Jitsu, right?
Yeah. And like I said, Steve was a wrestler and a fitness guy. He wasn't a jiu-jitsu instructor at the time. So he just gathered up and was resourceful with information, and just kind of, led the white belts. And then he got his blue belt. So he led white belts, and he got his purple, and he led blue belts and white belts, There's no one ever above Steve's rank there.
Who was Steve first training with to teach the jiu-jitsu? Like which Gracie?
Everyone, was? All the Gracies. So back when we started, all the Gracies were together. It was all in the same gym. So it was, there was no Relson Gracie Association. There was no Hoyler Gracie Association, Hickson. Everyone was in the same spot in California, pretty much started by Hoyler Gracie. And then, things changed, people move, interest change, and I just linked up with Relson right away. Just like it was, you know, it was just a little bit different. I had more, you know, I had the most time with Relson, and I had a, you know, then Hoist probably would be next, and then going down from there.
So you know, like in the original UFC, like UFC 1 or whatever it was, all the Gracies come out, they're holding each other's shoulder, they're coming out of the tunnel for the UFC. So it was like that, right? It was like,
yeah, man,
all of those guys, all of Elio's sons you were training with.
Yeah. I tried to get on the UFC 1. I tried to get on their back, but they left already. You think I'm joking? I didn't have. They had these blue jumpsuits.
I saw those.
I was a little kid. Some of the shots in UFC 1, 2, you could see me. I have like a little ponytail. Yeah, I'm in the. You could see some shots there.
Do you have a jump? Do you have a jumpsuit?
See if you can find me. It's funny. I was a kid. I was a little skinny, like little guy.
Do you have a jumpsuit? One of the Gracie Jiu Jitsu jumpsuits?
No.
Dude, how cool would that be?
Now to have that?
Yes.
Like in this room right here, I'm in Fishtown, and I have a lot of relics in here. You know, like different things, you know, signed and.
Can you show us?
Huh?
Show us.
I'll have to walk around. I have this camera set up, so it'll.
Then we'll do it at the end.
Yeah, we'll do it at the end. I'll show you everything.
Cool. So then you're training with Steve, and then you know, you're learning Gracie Jiu Jitsu. Mm-hmm. So now, what's the next transition? Like, why do you want to?
Well, there were no other teachers and no black belts. So
what year
Steve's
is this?
Mission,
what year is this?
I mean 90s.
Like
so
what,
Steve might have opened up.
92?
I think Steve opened up in like 89, 90, something like that.
Oh my God, I was 4 years old.
Yes, yeah. So I was training knowing that you were coming up as a child to kick your butt. I was also a kid, man. I was like, you know, I mean, honestly, I wanted to compete so bad. I was a kid, man. I was like, and then I want to fight all the time. That's all I was thinking, you know. And even then, man, when I was 14, I took on my first challenge match with an adult man. Isn't that crazy?
Pretty cool, man.
Yeah, I know. I remember, like, actually, Hoist Gracie was there. Steve Maxwell was there. And somebody else, they called me on the phone. They're like, you ready? I was like, yes. I was home. And so I ran from where I lived, which was like, if you just took a walk, it would be about 20 minutes to the gym.
Was this in Philly or California?
No. I lived in, you know, when I was a kid, I didn't go to California until I was like 16 or 17.
Okay.
So I was 17 because I was after my car accident. Yeah, it was before I was 14, man. Like 14 years old, I ran to go fight some guy, and then I saw him. He was in a karate outfit with a black belt. And I tell this story all the time. I went in there. I was not nervous 1 second. I was already warmed up when I got in there. I was like, I'm going to punch this guy and throw him and all this sort of stuff. And then I saw that black belt, and I got like fear in my stomach. His belt did it. He didn't look that tough at all. I just looked at his belt, and he's doing kicks and warming up and stretching his neck out. But he was the same size as I was. That's why they called me, because if he went with Hoist would just rip him up in 3 seconds, you know. But I was skinny and little then, so they called me in. And then Hoist pulled me back, and I'll just never forget it. He was like, you do what we do. He's like, you bite your teeth, you put your hands up, you back up until he attacks, and then you take him. And that's all he said, is then you take the clinch, you know. And I was like, okay. I didn't really understand what he was saying, but I did it. And I backed up, and exactly like the guy tried to chamber a kick, and I just I backed up, rammed him, took him down, got a mount in like a second. And then to the best of my ability, I was trying to recall like a submission. I was like, yes, I'm going to submit this guy with an arm bar or something like that. I didn't remember anything. I had the guy down. I don't know if I was a blue belt yet. I don't think so. But the only thing I remember were punches. Yeah, I started hitting the guy.
You just mounted him, just started cracking.
Oh man, yeah. No, not crazy. Just a little pop, pop, pop. You know, just nothing to try to kill him. I just like wanted him to give up. Mm-hmm. And he like tapped out on the ground and got up. He was like, all right, let's go again. Like that. And then Hoist told him, he was like, you sure you want to go again? He's like, why? He's like, he's a 14-year-old kid. You sure you want to go? And this guy's eyes were like, I didn't look 14 when I was 14. And he was just like, I just got beaten up by a 14-year-old kid, you know? And then, again, the part of the point of the Gracie Challenge, like when you take it, I'm the Gracie representative was not to beat the crap out of somebody.
Right.
It was to use jiu-jitsu to show that you have control, and that, in about 20 minutes, you can have them enroll in your school. That was the idea.
Yes.
Yeah, my brother and I have gotten in trouble with Gracie multiple times, not with Relson, but when, there were a couple challenges in California and a couple challenges in Philadelphia where our striking background got the better of us, got the better of our opponent, rather. We punched him, is what I'm telling you, and need him. So when the job was clinch him, put him in the wall, put him down and choke him, or arm bar him or something like that, to show how effective jiu-jitsu is. But,
the striking took over, and it wasn't like you wanted it to. Yeah. It just happened, and then you were like, ah.
Yeah, one time, Rick will tell you too. I kind of fight like this, and then I had my right hand balled up just to kind of throw something to make him put his hands up, but it actually connected. I hit the guy in the jaw, and he like crumbled. It's a cool video. I'll put that portion on video. The rest of it's kind of nasty. But as he was going down, he was slipping down the wall. I grabbed him and I threw him. So he was already getting like dizzy from getting hit, and then boom, and then choke. That's it. Jiu-jitsu is simple, man. It's like get someone rattled, put them down, exhaust them, choke them.
It sounds like a lot of the early days of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, especially if you were at the Gracie Academy or you're training where you were with Steve, a lot of guys would come in and challenge, people. And I always tell my students, if somebody comes in here and they challenge, which I don't think that people
nobody
now.
Yeah.
I said, guys, the blue belt, and is that the same thing when you were coming up? The lower belts have to go first.
No, with us, the people that could fight had to go. Or if you had an interest in fighting, you go. That's how you get your feet wet in fighting without signing up for a professional match. You didn't put the guy that is studying in college and passive and never had a fight in his life. No, kind of like the wild animal people, like my brother and I at the time, were put, especially in Philadelphia. Steve did it a couple times, but generally we got the call. There wasn't really many other people. Steve, Jared Wiener. Jared has a nasty one, dude. I don't even know if it's online. I was the ref in that one, and we got mad at the guy because he said, "Oh, I fought before. I did this. I did that." He's like a wrestler. I was like, "All right, good. He's gonna be tough enough to deal with Jared." And then Jared got him, kneed him in his face. Man, the guy didn't know what he was doing. He lied. He didn't know how to fight. And then we all got mad. I got super mad that he didn't know how to fight. Got kneed in the nose, and his, it was everywhere. And you could hear me on the video. I'm like, get off my mat. I was so mad. But yeah, that's how it was done back in the day, man. And then that's the good thing about MMA. It's a physical outlet. If you want to fight, go sign up for one. You don't have to go to an academy anymore. You can go sign up for an MMA match when they were in existence. No longer in existence with this quarantine.
Yeah, so that was like the early days of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah. And we were in the bottom of the totem pole with that stuff, but still, I was a blue belt fighting people, purple belt fighting people. Brown belt, I don't remember one. It was more of like grappling challenges at that point. Also, the range between my white belt and brown belt was a long time. So, I don't know if you could see. Can you see the background? Yeah, you can see belts back there, right? Somewhere over there. You can see like my white, how little I was up until purple. And then that purple's destroyed. Or where is it? Right there. It's white.
It's white. It's a white belt.
So it was a long time. That's a very long time right there. I think between the white and the purple, the end of the purple was like 10, 11 years.
Talk to us about what it was like, because I know I've had a bad injury, but talk about your injury and how it can relate to now.
What injury?
The one where you were in a car accident.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then how you transitioned from the car accident to getting better to then going to train at the official Gracie Academy in California with all of the, Jorge and Gracie and all the top Gracies there. Talk to us about, what it's like to be injured and laying down for, how long were you in a bed for?
So this happened so my birthday is on January 11th. This happened on January 13th in 1993. That's when I got hurt. And if you guys out there, if you even know, because I went to high school in Lawrenceville at Lawrence High, right there in Jersey. Yep, Lawrence High. I was on my way in this car accident to Harry's Army Navy because I was you guys know, I don't even know if it still
Route
exists.
130. It's not there anymore.
No, okay, but you know where it was. It was we were going to buy paintball equipment because I got my birthday. I got a lot of cards. I was excited. Went there to go buy some paintball, which I was like, I loved it. It was fun. So I got hit passenger side and got pretty messed up. I broke pretty much everything on my right side: hips, ribs, hip bone, just everything. And on top of that, I had some head injuries too, which were pretty bad. So all in all, man, 7-8 months until I left my house, kind of something like that. So yeah, it's about 7 months before, I did anything. Before I got on the mats, it was a year. Like I said, the head injuries were the worst. I broke a lot of stuff in my face, my nose, scars all over. But, the hip stuff's no joke too, because that knocks out your whole core. And what's funny, they paid attention so much to my right side. I didn't know anything happened to my left side. My left knee was bad. I had bones floating around in there, but no one looked at it because I couldn't walk. So I had no idea that my left side was bad. And, I finally had that taken care of 10 years later after competing for 10 years straight. Crazy. So after that car accident, I competed, but I had to be careful about competition because one bad move was, a herniated spine. If I got slammed or ragdolled by someone or sat down heavy on my butt, I could have, still I can. So I took a lot less risk. I always say before I was a purple, I could jump into a triangle. I could flip into this stuff, I think I am agile, but I used it more then. My jiu-jitsu changed after that. So I had to be safer on my body and go slower. And even my boxing and my kickboxing, definitely my kicks got slower. I had to be careful the way I threw a kick to throw my back out. I got to a point. So we grew up boxing with my dad and my grandfather, and we learned how to fight like orthodox and then southpaw. So we always did both. And my dad was big on that because he was always, he was all banged up too. So he never wanted to stick to one side. You never know which way you're gonna have to move and turn in a real street fight. So, he liked doing both sides. In a sport, you have to stick to one, maybe you have your major side and your minor side. And when you're first coming up, pick a side, pick your, power in the back, like you teach, power behind you. So if you feel like your right hand stronger. So I had to be careful with the way I did the Muay Thai. So I was always throwing right kicks, and I never really had a left kick because, like I said, I hurt my left knee. My left knee was always like out of alignment. Something was wrong, but I didn't know what was wrong. And years later, I got surgery, and then I had a more powerful left kick because it was like in alignment. I could strength, do more strength training on it. So yeah, so I limited all that. After that too, the idea of the UFC. I think if I didn't get hurt, yeah, for sure, I would have made a hard run. Accident, it changed my body. It changed my brain. It's like I had 30 UFC fights in a split second with the brain injury. So I had to slow down. It's not that my jaw was weak. It's just that I already felt like a head injury felt like it was scary. To the point where I really don't talk about this, but so that was the senior year of high school, and I had to go back to remedial reading, writing, comprehension. It's terrible, dude. I couldn't read. And it took me to a point where I had to do so much rehab in that sense that today, every single day. So I'll tell you guys out there, I refused an interview with Charlie before 12 o'clock because I have to get my head right in the morning. So I tend to read, write, put my thoughts together, get my things together. And then after 12, I'm full on. I can do anything. But to collect myself, that sort of behavior comes from, an initial brain injury from getting your head bounced off many sides of a car, which is bad. So, I had to do that. That was my biggest struggle, that sort of thing, the mental stuff. And anyone out there that's ever been in a car accident or had a major brain injury, you know what I'm talking about. So it's a scary proposition to get yourself hurt like that. And we spoke about that with you fighting too. Even though like what we try to teach here, and you do the same thing with your guys, defense footwork. So you don't run into, you know, cinder block hands or legs. You can reduce the amount of damage that you get by knowing how to absorb and to move. So anyway, it's a long answer, but.
So wasn't there a time that you were, you know, during this injury that you broke your hip, and like that whole thing, that the doctor or whoever you were seeing at the time, the physical therapist, was just like, you should just really just not even thinking about walking again, let alone becoming a world champion in jiu-jitsu later on. And talk about, you know, what the mental state of mind for that is right now, because
well, it's kind of like what we're doing right now. We're in this quarantine. Yeah, no, it really is. It's like, do you doubt the future? Do you look, you know, I just had to stay positive, and there was a reason too, because I was young and all I had was future. So I have, I still am young. What am I saying? But, you know, I'm like, what are you going to do? Are you going to think like in a negative way and just, you know, put yourself in that mental state that everything is negative or positive? I was like, no, I'm going to fight. So I teach, you know, I keep telling everyone, like, we're all in the bad place, but what I keep saying is that fighters fight. Fighters don't quit. Fighters fight, no matter what it is. Whether in a fight, you were signed up for a match. That's why I called yoga for fighters, not yoga for BJJ, for jiu-jitsu, for Muay Thai. It's for fighters because it's a fighter's mindset. And many times, like, you're in a yoga pose, you get into like this argument with yourself that you need to get out of this thing very quickly because it's uncomfortable. That's what we're in right now. We're in the most uncomfortable yoga pose, and all we can do is breathe right now. And it's the same thing. It's a little like, you know, yoga's a little grappling match, uncomfortable situations like this, or a grappling match with yourself. And of course, the outside, everyone's focused on money and, you know, so yeah. So it's very similar in that sense. Like, I'm thinking very in a positive way for the future, but I'm grappling every day inside my head to maintain a positive view. Does that make sense? So I'm grappling like everybody else, you know. And also, I've worked with some of the best fighters on the planet. And from a coaching standpoint, I remind them to stay positive, because it's very easy as a fighter to get down on yourself. That you see like your opponent on the video swinging their hands at a, you know, quickly at a bag or something like that. Like, oh man, I got to go against this guy. His hands are so fast, or whatever it may be. You can think in a very negative way against an opponent. So, you know, right now I'm thinking in a positive format, you know, in a positive way for the future, you know, not once we get out of this, but while we're here, to breathe, you know. And that's why I said I would rather do this interview around 12 when I'm, you know, more sound and more positive about the future. I wake up, I'm like, oh man, you know, it's, you know, like there are people in a lot worse situations than I am. But as you know, Charlie, walking into an empty, beautiful spot sucks. This place where I'm sitting, usually there are hundreds of people walking through here every day. So it just sucks in that format. But the thing that makes me happy is that everyone's home and safe. That's the most important part. Everyone's like, you know, healthy. And the most I can do is help with yoga right now. Solo drills and teaching jiu-jitsu online is very, very difficult, especially if you don't have a partner. And anyone that's, you know, doing real jiu-jitsu and having a real match at home is cheating anyway, because they're sneaking around with their friends or something. Look, listen, I'm not training. I haven't trained since we closed this place, and I'm not training because my students aren't training, you know. Right. There's like, you know, I could sneak someone in here for sure if I wanted to, but I'm not. Yeah, not to roll. So
I totally agree with that, man. And, you know, going into an empty, beautiful space really makes us as, you know, leaders of jiu-jitsu and martial arts realize that we don't do this for ourselves. We do this for everybody else. You know, you don't open a studio up because you want to do it for yourself. You do it because you want to help other people.
You would just train.
It's exactly
like,
right.
If you don't like teaching, like I always say, like, myself. At the beginning of our, and then I was going to say too, the one thing I just kind of pivoted on, we were supposed to have our, like the beginning of our teacher training for 2020 starting, you know, just getting people involved. And now I'm pivoting, I'm doing it all online. And I met with a couple of the new teachers, and I said, if you don't really love people, if you don't have a passion for teaching jiu-jitsu or more Muay Thai and helping other people, you shouldn't be in this program, you know?
Yeah.
So if you just like it because it's cool being a black belt, which it is, and no one cares about. Anybody else outside of jiu-jitsu doesn't care about your black belt. They think you wear pajamas and like, you know, wrestle with other people. So, yeah, so that's, you know, I don't know. That's the way I've pivoted, and just connecting with people online, you know, this is all we can do right now. It's an interesting world.
Yeah, it's interesting that we need to, like you said, people who want to be instructors, it's the most and the people who want to be jiu-jitsu or martial arts owners and instructors and leaders, it's the most unselfish thing that you can do. I always say that, because in order to be a great fighter,
I'm going to say no, but yeah, you go.
Why.
I'll tell.
In my opinion, it's the most unselfish thing in a way, because you have to give yourself and your knowledge and everything because you want other people to get better. And in turn, it makes us feel great because we're like, yes, we're helping other people. But in order to be a great fighter and a great jiu-jitsu practitioner, like world class, you have to be very selfish, because the only person that you have to think about and should be thinking about is
you winning.
You winning.
Well,
right?
Good teams too. I'll go back to why this is all selfish for me, this whole thing that I do. Good teams out there, like good professional grappling teams and good professional MMA teams, they're teams. You know, like I see a lot of some of the videos, American Top Team, like you have your core group of guys there, you know, like that's a team. These guys are out, you know, help each other and support each other. So in that way, it's good. But ultimately, when you're out there, you know, fighting, there's no one else but you and whoever else that is in front of you. So, you know, it's a team sport in training, not in the competition. Oh, I'll tell you why this is all selfish for me, okay? Because part of my goal here is to create a room of black belts that I can roll with. So it's very selfish. So I want you to get so good that we're training on the mat. We're all black belts in there, you know? And of course, it's hard. It's a lot of effort on your side as the student, and, you know, me giving up everything I know, you know, and many instructors don't take this chance of like your students learning your game or learning your way or getting so good you can't catch them anymore. I don't even care, man. I want to make a room of people that are just so good. I'm gonna get old anyway. Everyone's gonna be beating me up. I don't care. So, and if anything, this quarantine time has really allowed me to take a step back and look through processes and curriculum and all that sort of stuff to make people even better. So, so I don't know. So there's good and bad of this whole thing. And we could have better weather. I don't know who we have to talk to have better weather, but it's gray inside. So you're fighting a lot of different things. You're fighting your feelings. You're fighting quarantine. Don't fight with your roommates, whoever they may be. It's not good because you got to like live with them and you can't leave.
I have a little roommate at my house. She screams at me all the time.
Oh yeah, so do I. She's like, Daddy, you don't even want to play with me. I'm like, yes, I do. She's like, you don't seem like it. I'm like, no, I really want to play with you.
You're not listening to me.
Hey, my daughter's jiu-jitsu stepping up, man. She's ready for the when she turns 5, she's ready for the kids class.
Nice.
She's excited. Yeah, she's really excited. It's so funny too. She actually really enjoys it. And if anything has developed from this, it's our method of teaching the kids class, our method. And also, I have a pretty good, you know, at some point I'll put out a download how to actually work with your kids below 5, how to just work with them at home. And, you know, just you're the parent teaching the kids just a little bit of jiu-jitsu, which will require a parent to do. And in about a month to 2 months, kidsjujitsu.com will come out. I can release that now because I saw the structure of it. It's so cool. So that's ours. I bought kidsjujitsu.com years ago, like 10, 12 years ago. Nice. And yeah, it's cool, right?
Good addition.
So, yeah. So we have a couple little snippets that we're going to put out. Teambalance.com is coming out too. That'll be everything related with Team Balance all over the world, teacher training, membership site, gear, group buying for affiliates, group, you know, even for like ad buys, you know, buying ads for our gyms, we'll get it for half price now. So it's cool. Yeah, so we have a lot of cool stuff coming out with that. It's just been it would have been out last year if my brother didn't get reconstructive knee surgery. He needs to be in the video. So now he's getting better, and we'll be shooting all the videos once we get out of quarantine here.
Nice.
Yeah.
So talk about, since, you know, you guys have such a great team, and that's why I'm a part of it, and you and your brother, what does it mean for it to be a great team? What is a person, or what does that look like? What does a great team look like to you? Like, in your opinion, what is a great team like? What should team members and other people be doing?
Like a team should look like a team, not one person supporting, you know, not the whole school or the whole team supporting just one person, which some schools seem to be like that. What's really cool is that you have some of our team members, they help our brand new team members too. I like that. So a guy with good takedowns or a lot of tournament experience will lead one of the, you know, competition team, you know, like time matches or something like that. And I like that. So people helping people within the team. I like that. You know, that's the one thing that I did not create, that just happened from the way, you know, from the personalities that we have. So, and it really does, you know, like good organizations come from a filtering system of good people. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, man.
You know, oftentimes when we enroll people, I'll get calls from our enrollment staff asking me, do you mind if we exclude this person? When they can make money off of enrolling someone that just doesn't fit, or they get a bad vibe, or just, you know, someone that's cursing a lot, complaining a lot, just being rough or dangerous or something like that, we could politely not give them a call back. You know, it may not be right for the gym. So I believe that filtering system leads all the way up to the competition team. You know, so these people start as white belts, now they're black belts, purple belts, whatever, you know, high-end competitors in the, you know, in the grappling scene. So I think that helps, because they may not be completely thinking about themselves. If that, you know what I mean?
That makes complete sense. We've even had at our place, just like, you know, good places where we have this, you know, natural weeding out process of, you know, if you're not a good fit for the team for whatever reason, whether it's your attitude or, you know, you don't fit the culture here of what we're trying to do, help other people and be productive with everybody, then you have to go. And it doesn't matter how much money you're providing, because you're not providing the culture that everybody else is trying to have. Yeah. No, it's not worth it. And I've done it before, and you know, I would do it again if I needed to. Yeah.
I'm there with you, man.
It's like a natural process, right? Like it gets to like a head, and it's like, okay, it's time for you to go poison somewhere else, but not here.
Yeah. And funny enough, even before this, I was irritated by a lack of respect for our hygiene requirements here. And I think you saw that online. I removed someone from the gym because they were disrespectful on multiple levels. And I just really had enough. Got rid of them. Been easy. I mean, also a month later, this happened, but, you know, I was modifying the way we operate here to keep everybody safe. You know?
Absolutely. One person in that kink of the chain will throw everything off, and
it would make everybody else unsafe when you don't follow like safety rules. So, you know, and of course, coming back from this, there's going to be a longer list, but I think people will pay attention a little bit more. I mean, we don't really have problems, but you know, like people are, I don't know, I think a little bit more in tune with hygiene these days and social distancing.
Sure. It's going to be a change. It's going to be a change. Yeah. So Phil, we have some questions from some of our members here. And if you guys have any, make sure that you post them below inside of the live chat box here, but one of my training partners, Rich, had a really good question. Let me see if I can put it here. I think you know.
Who cut
Rich.
my hair? Everybody's asking me that.
Yeah, who cut your
texting
hair?
me. I
cut
just cut my own hair, guys. I cut my own hair. I promise. I'm not a cheater.
Wait, Kieran has a question, dude. All
Yes.
right. Tips on drills to help escaping a bear's side control. I don't know who was a bear, but I guess
I did
somebody
it
is
the other
a
day.
bear.
I did it the other day.
Okay.
I'll have to film it. But so when you're on your back, 2 shoulders pinned, person's weight feels like a bear. When you bump and you turn to your side with 2 shoulders stacked on each other, you see that? Shoulder, shoulder. You take the pressure off. When you're flat on your back, you eat the pressure and you can't breathe as well. When you're on your side, not only do you lift them higher, but you can breathe and you make room for the knees. So you could do stuff on the ground, you bridge, you turn to your side, pretend to put the knee in, go back down, bridge, do the other side. So when you're doing these solo drills, you have to also imagine, I mean, it's like insanity right now that you're like pretending to roll with somebody, but it actually works. And if you ask me how I improved myself after my car accident, I did that on a mat by myself. I rehearsed things, like a person went through my guard like this. So I bump, I turn, I hook, I just move. But just in a solo sense, bumping and turn to your side and elbows in and hands tight, you can train that a little bit. So I don't know if that helps, but being on your back is no good. And having your arm in the wrong place and you can't turn is no good. So that's why I always do this. Relson teaches us this, how to hold ourselves like this. So you're not getting caught on bottom. So that helps to turn underneath somebody. But you bump somebody. So I tell the kids, you create an earthquake, bridge your hips, and then you fit into the crack, turn, wiggle in. So, the earthquake goes first, then the crack. You look for the crack, and you put your knee in there, or you escape. That may help adults too.
All right. So Rich asking, what do you think are some purely mental things that hold back development in BJJ? I remember something that you told me. I want to see if it's going to be the same.
What mental?
What mental things hold people back?
Yeah, the having to win all the time. Forget about that, especially if you're just getting into jiu-jitsu. Some really tiny person could probably beat the crap out of you. So you have to go in there expecting to lose. So, the idea in business is, succeeding by failure, So what you may deem as failure is not really a failure. It's something you have no control over anyway. Like you leave your arm up. If you don't know about that arm being bad there, you're going to get caught. Another thing too, mental, but also relates to physical, is breathing. If you're not breathing right when you move and spar, you can put yourself in a bad mental state because of panic. That's the intersection between, emotional, physical, mental, is your breathing. So you disrupt that, or if that gets in a panic or it's held, you don't perform as well. So I don't know, what was the thing you were thinking about?
It's the same thing that you just said, where, people are scared. They're so scared to get in a certain position, or they're so scared to tap that it holds them back because they're not breathing and they're so restricted to one mindset, and they can't be open enough to keep opening back up to the learning experience all over again, like over and over and over, being egoless, like having that cycle. And dude, I go through it all the time. I'm a black belt. I go train in Brazil. I train with guys like, Sergio and these world champions. And I'm like, oh my God, what's happening here? But it helps me because then
that's a whole different level. See, most people don't know you can get your black belt. And then there are black belts that have been black belts for a long time, in addition to being like world class, like Sergio is a natural athlete too. There's no way, it's very hard to teach that. I mean, I'm going to say it's impossible to teach that, the way he moves and understood jiu-jitsu. And people don't know he's a big beast. He's not little. A lot of people think he's small. He's not small. No.
We talked about, me and Rich were saying the other day, I don't know how he makes 170. I have no idea how he makes
He's like
170
210,
pounds.
isn't he?
Yeah, he's like 210. Yeah, he's like
Yeah.
210 pounds.
But yeah, mental too. So I told my buddy, so I got him involved. He's not watching right now, so I'll tell the story now, but I won't name his name. So he's a good friend of mine. He's a white belt still, probably get his blue belt soon, but I got him involved in jiu-jitsu. So he consults with me all the time. I go back and forth. He's like, man, I got caught for the whole class, this and that, and I had to remind him, I was like, you got to remember, everyone just sees you as a white belt anyway, and no one sees you as a badass. So you didn't lose anything. There's nothing that you lost there because you got tapped out. Nobody cares either. No one went back to their work and told everyone that you got submitted in a jiu-jitsu class as a white belt, by a blue belt, by a purple belt. Like he takes it personally. Excuse me. I'm gonna drink some water real quick, so I don't go nuts here. So yeah, so no one's really watching like they're watching the worlds anyway when you're training, and everything that happens in the training room, it's experimentation generally. I mean, like people that always go with their A game in a training environment in the school, stay in their A game. Me, I always want, I haven't done it yet. I want to go A through Z. I think I'm about L right now. I have an L game. That's the games that I play, like an A game, B game, C game. Like I want to, if I go C game, I'm going to shake hands and fall on my back and see what you can do. And then my whole game is I want to reverse this guy and then catch him if I can. If it doesn't work, at least I tried. But, like I'll play defense some days and people are like, yeah, I'm kicking the crap out of Phil. But I really just fell down and you landed on my side because that's the game I'm playing. And then there's the game that I don't want you to do anything to me. If I can help it, I'm not, I won't be on bottom either. I'm going to be on top, trying to put pressure on. So I go back and forth too, because it's as much of a game as it is self-defense. When you're playing in an academy, if someone wants to come in or like, we want to get a match today, Phil? I'm like, sure. But I don't want to be the Phil of last match. I want to be a different Phil, Yeah. So it's still fun for me. That's all I'm saying. I still get a kick out of it.
What do you think is more, and I'm going to ask Mark's question here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What is more important, the mindset of, we'll say martial arts, we won't even say jiu-jitsu because we practice a bunch of different martial arts, me and you. The passion of wanting to become internally a well-rounded martial artist mentally and physically, or just the outcome of what you want,
No, you just want a belt, walk around with it.
Yeah, you just want that belt, right? That's it. No passion, no
put it on
charisma, whatever. Once you get the black belt, just quit anyway.
That's it. I'm trying to think about how to rephrase that a little bit for me.
What's more important, the way you do your work and the passion that you have for it, and that could be anything, or just the outcome? The way that I put that is how can you keep going when it gets hard without the passion, really? I mean, you're just looking for this end result, and if it's not appealing.
That I've been involved in quite a few businesses in and out to kind of taste test and see what they're like. And a lot of them, I just wasn't passionate about it all. And I found myself dreading doing every second of it. So, the businesses that I'm involved now, I'm very passionate about. One being what we're talking about right now, the education of Gracie Jiu Jitsu and Muay Thai kickboxing. I'm passionate. I study everything that I'm involved in. I study every day. So that's another thing. It might be 12 o'clock sort of thing. I've designed my work day after 12, and many people think oh, that must be nice, but I go 12 all the way through the rest of the day. I don't stop. And I'm actually technically working before that, but it's not what you would consider technical, 9 to 5 sort of sit down in an office sort of work. Generally before 12 o'clock, I make my, calls and connections and network stuff and send back emails and things like that. So that is work. It's just different work.
But you have passion about it, right?
Yeah, I'm excited about everything I do. Yeah. I don't like this right now, this quarantine thing at all. Not one bit. I just don't like it.
I don't think anybody does.
Some people do. Some people are like, yo, you having a good time? I'm like, no, I'm not. This is not fun. I'm not, I'm trying to do what I can. I have a family, so I'm trying to do what I can for my family. It's not easy. And so I had to, make several pivots in multiple areas. And that's what's good about, you say jiu-jitsu mindset. That's a jiu-jitsu mindset, because when you're retired from fighting, you have to keep your brain sharp. So you pivot in other areas of your life. You have to pivot in business. Like you're never, that's what I always say. Like I never feel like I'm pinned. So I know there's wiggle room all the time. I'm pinned temporarily, like I said, going like this, I'm pinned under a 300-pound person that knows what they're doing, but I'm making small movements to get myself out, and I will get out. So you have to have the confidence that you will get out. But at certain points, you're going to feel like you're suffocating. You're going to feel like you're, going to give up at certain points. This happens. That's what the mental grappling is, And that's why I think yoga is great for the mental grappling. And I'll let you guys know I've started writing too. Many of you in here and outside have asked for a Yoga for Fighters book, and just how to, it's more of a mental thing than it is a putting your leg over your head. So like I said, Yoga for Fighters is, also like emotional state for fighting. It's also ways of thinking when it's, one of my longtime jiu-jitsu students and yoga practitioners was in the fight of his life with cancer. And so it's a whole nother fight. It's a whole nother mental state. It's a whole nother thing. And I talked to him, for months and months and months. He's pulling out of it, and it's a fight like any other one. But if you're not prepped, you're not trained, it's a whole different thing. So fighting is fighting. Fighters will fight.
That's great advice, man. And our next question actually goes right into this. Mark is asking, Phil, do you find that practicing yoga helps you remember to breathe more when training?
Yeah, 100%. Or, 100%. Yeah, there's like the concept of awareness, just being aware of what's going on when you're doing whatever you're doing, right? So you could be holding your breath right now. I bet like 10 of you were out there already holding your breath, so now you're more conscious of the way you're breathing. You have to do it when fighting professionally, like if I'm sparring or something like that. Yeah, 100%. But the thing is, it's a different form of breathing. Jiu-jitsu breathing is a different form of yoga breathing. And even in yoga, you have different methods of breathing. So it's a whole nother story, a whole nother talk on, modes of breathing in different activities. Boxing breathing is different than jiu-jitsu breathing. So, yeah. But they're all methods of dealing with the physicality too. So your method of breathing or the rhythm of your breath is, can kind of match what you're doing physically. You can take really long breaths when you're smashing somebody, but if you take a really long breath when you're boxing somebody or kickboxing, it's different. It's just different. So your breathing allows for you to survive in whatever it is you're doing. Now, when you're practicing yoga, you have the luxury of not having an attacker, unless it's you. You get it? I mean, unless it's you in your head attacking yourself, a lot of crazy stuff pops up when you're practicing yoga because it's you with you on a mat. So interesting things pop up, past suffering pops up. I've had people in my yoga classes break down crying, male and female. And sometimes, it's not appropriate as an instructor to address it right then and there. And sometimes it's just better to let people process whatever it may be. And you don't know what's happening in people's lives, but I've had people break down in my yoga classes. And
why is that?
I don't, at that particular time, it's not really my business. I'm just saying interesting things pop up when you get into a deep practice, because oftentimes we bury things, whatever they may be, and they happen to come up when you're alone with yourself in a yoga practice. Even in a room where you're doing it with other people, it's just you there on a mat with you. So, and I'm pretty sure you're going to share my gift, right? To everyone?
Yeah. Well, we're gonna end soon. I'm gonna ask everybody if they have another question. If not, we're gonna share their gift that they're gonna get with us
on the talk right now.
We have 8 right now.
Okay, cool.
So, does anybody have any other questions before we end? I know I'll get somebody after this. They'll be like, I had a question you didn't answer.
It's okay. You just put it in the comments. We could follow up.
Yeah. All right. So why don't you talk about the gift that you're going to be giving everybody? I'm excited about it because I think it's something that everybody should be doing, including myself, more.
Yeah. So all of you guys are part of Team Balance. I loaded my Yoga for Fighters app and about 6 hours of my yoga content.
Wait, Phil, we have a question. I'm sorry.
Yes, go for
it. Phil asks, Rich is asking, who has better hair, you or Charlie? Of course I do. Right now, Phil has better hair, but I have better hair once it's cut.
This is the Philobi cut. Come on.
And then
everybody knows what a Philobi is.
Yeah, the vacuum hair cutter, right?
Now everyone wants to buy those.
Frank asks, anyone thinking about playing chess? Frank maybe wants to play chess with some people.
Which
online.
Frank? Lord?
Yeah, Lord.
Oh,
yeah.
Hit my brother up.
Oh, your brother plays all the time, right?
Yeah, he does. He plays every single day. If you think Rick is good at jiu-jitsu, play him in chess. Does he already play my brother in chess?
Let me ask him. I don't know. We'll see what he says.
Okay. Well, anyway, I'll tell everyone.
Yeah, go ahead.
And you'll put out the links. But I uploaded the Yoga for Fighters app on the Balance Studios app, the Balance MMA app that you can go on the App Store and download. Scroll down to the bottom. You got a gift for a little bit. So a couple months, however long this lasts, I'll keep it up. And I have it off of the App Store. So you can't find it on the App Store anywhere. So I couldn't make it free, so I just took it down. I didn't know. They wouldn't allow me to do it for some reason. But I spent a couple weeks to figure out how to actually upload it there, and I did it. And so you have the actual system, the Yoga for Fighters System 1, free, and then 6-7 hours of Yoga for Fighters, like the membership site content. So it's all up there, right on that app. Yep.
Awesome. So you guys are getting Yoga for Fighters. Amazing. Wow. Well, now we don't have any excuse to not train.
Well, you should do the sun salutation challenge with everyone. Just doing sun salutations every day. And then we're going to do 100 sun salutation challenge at the end of the month. I'll do it with everybody.
So can I do for today, for our Monday mobility class, can I do part of the Yoga for Fighters in that class?
I would. Sun salutation 1 basic version. Do that.
All right, we'll do that.
Okay.
That's what we're doing today, guys, at 6 o'clock.
Done deal.
That was easy.
Right. Yeah, put it on. You do it. And
just bear with me, guys, while I'm doing it, because I'm not a professional at it yet. I'm going to be learning also.
Okay.
All right, man. Thanks so much for coming on.
No problem.
And do you have any messages or anything that you want to tell everybody?
No, just, like I said, it's a struggle for everyone. Stay positive as you can, and try to pivot and find something you can do in this time that's, will better the world or better yourself.
Awesome, man. I think that's great advice, because everybody's, going through, this together. Mm-hmm. Nobody is not alone in this. We are all in this.
Yeah, the whole world.
The whole entire world, man. The whole entire world. All right. Well, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
You got it, bro.
All right. See ya.
Later.